And so what we're doing, we're recording the classes today, so we're going to send you the link so that you can watch them next week, if that's all right. Okay?
That's good.
So we're going to start, so just leaning back on your bolster, bringing the arms out to the side. You can either cross the legs, so you can tuck that left leg under and then the right leg on the outside, tucking the chin in towards the chest, bringing the arms out wide, palms facing up, and just sinking into that bolster. Now if you need a bit of padding under the knees, just maybe another cushion or a blanket, just to make it a bit more comfortable. Always use props if you just need that little bit of extra padding under the knees. Because we stay in the poses a bit longer in our yin practice, so just make sure you're feeling quite comfortable and just softening into that pose, allowing the body to release any tension. Just softening into that bolster. And just connecting with your breath. Maybe using your U3A breath, which is where we restrict the back of the throat. And then as we exhale, it's like a forced breathing but with your mouth closed. So we also call it the oceanic breath because it sounds a bit like the ocean. But by doing that breath, it helps us extend our exhale a bit longer. So you have a bit more control over the breath. So just engaging that breath if that feels right for you. Otherwise, just doing your normal breathing, but just being mindful of maybe extending the exhale a little bit longer. Softening into the pose. Releasing tension from the shoulders and maybe the face. Sometimes we hold tightness in the jaw. So just softening into the face. Bringing your focus within. Taking 2 more breaths here. And then we slowly release the knees, just bringing them up, having the feet either side of the mat with the knees bent, just bringing the arms out a bit wider, drawing the belly back towards the spine, and just doing a gentle windscreen wiper movement here. And then from here we're going to cross that right leg and tuck that left leg under. So we're doing the opposite legs. tucking the chin into the chest, softening into the breath. And just connecting with your body, maybe noticing any subtle changes, just being aware of how the body feels. And then slowly releasing the knees. Bring the feet back to the mat. Just letting the knees meet in the middle. And then propping the hands down, coming up slowly. And maybe moving your props out of the way. Bringing our bolster down just on the right hand side. So we're going to lie down here. Bring the arms out wide at shoulder length. Bring that left knee into the chest, squeezing that in. And then we take that knee over that bolster. And again, if that's too, maybe you need a little bit of padding between your knee and the bolster, you can put a folded blanket there, just for a little bit of extra padding. And then maybe opening up, taking your gaze over to that left shoulder, feeling that stretch along the shoulder girdle. Or you can just gaze up at the ceiling, drawing the belly back towards the spine, bringing your awareness to that left glute, breathing into that area, softening and releasing with your breath, helping to release any tension from that area. Engaging that U3A breath, if that feels right for you. Finding the stillness in the pose. The body softens and releases, using the breath. Taking 2 more breaths here. And then slowly releasing that left knee, coming back to center, stretching both legs out, making a bit of a star shape, moving that away. Coming into our corpse pose. So just arms out slightly out to the side, tucking the chin into the chest, and just feeling the body grounding into the mat. So we call this our rebound pose. So we just reconnect with the body and just check in. And then when you're ready, taking our bolster, we'll bring it over to the other side. Propping it up with a blanket if you need to. So bringing the arms out wide at shoulder length, bringing that right knee into the chest, nice squeeze in, and then we take that knee over the bolster so that the whole leg is touching the bolster. Bring the arms out wide, keep that chin tucked into the chest. And just softening into that pose. Opening up that right glute muscle, bringing your focus to that area. Softening and releasing. Feeling the body grounding into the mat. Taking 2 more breaths here. And then slowly releasing that right leg. Just moving that bolster out of the way a little bit. From here we're going to bring the knees back into the chest, having a little squeeze, a little gentle rock from side to side. And then bringing the arms out wide again, taking both knees over to the right. Bringing that right hand over to that left glute and just pressing into it a little bit. Opening up that left hand side of the ribs. Breathing a little deeper into the pose. Engaging that U3A breath. And releasing that right arm. Bring the knees back to center. And then taking the legs up. Maybe grabbing the backs of the thighs. Feeling that nice stretch in the legs. And then bending the knees. Bringing the arms out wide. Dropping the knees over to the left this time. Stacking that right knee on top of the left. And then bringing that left hand over to that right glute. Softening and releasing into that right glute. Releasing any tension or tightness from that area with your breath. Taking 2 more breaths here. And then keeping the knees over to the left. We just slowly make our way up. From here we're going to take our bolster. We're going to sit it across our lap. You might like a cushion on top or a blanket. And we're just going to bring the hands down to the floor, drop our head on top of the bolster or the blanket. You might even like a block there for a bit of extra height. Just rest your head on top of the block. And just wherever the hands land, either on the mat, maybe grabbing the calves, just dropping your head down. Just feeling that stretch as we open up the lower back. This is our caterpillar pose. So bringing your awareness to the lower back, just visualizing the breath coming into that area. Taking 2 more breaths here. And slowly releasing. So from here we're going to come over into our tabletop position. So we're going to drop the elbows down and come into our melting heart pose. So the knees are about hip width apart, just creeping the fingers forward. We lower our chest down towards the mat, drop our forehead to the mat, and just feeling that stretch across the upper arms as we lower the chest towards the mat, pushing the buttocks up. Melting heart pose. So we're lowering the heart towards the mat, strengthening that upper chest. Taking 1 more breath here. And then slowly moving the elbows back. We're going to come down onto our tummy, tucking the elbows in, coming into our Sphinx pose. So we press the tops of the feet into the mat and lengthen up through the chest, feeling that stretch in the lower back. So visualizing the breath coming into that lower back area and releasing out of that area as well. So we soften into that area with the breath, trying to release any tightness we might be feeling there. And then slowly coming out, we cross the elbows and then rest the cheeks just on top of the backs of the hands and slide that left knee up. And just taking a few breaths here, Completely letting go. And then gently sliding that left leg back. Taking your gaze to the opposite side and sliding that right knee up. So just taking a moment there. So bringing that right knee up and just crossing the arms, resting your cheek on the opposite arms, looking out over the opposite shoulder. And then gently sliding that right leg back, just tucking the hands under the shoulders, coming back. From here we're going to come into our child's pose. So we're going to take a block, bring the block in front of you, have the knees together, and just resting your head on top of that block. Maybe just sliding it back towards your knees, and then maybe bring both elbows up to the top end of the block. Bring the palms together, resting over the back of the head. And just softening into that pose. Bringing your focus within. And then slowly releasing, moving that block out of the way for a moment. So from here we're going to come up onto our knees, untuck the toes, so we're in our sitting back on the heels, so we're coming into our ankle stretch. So we just feel that stretch in the toes. And gently releasing. So just tapping the tops of the feet into the mat to release the knees. Twirl those feet around a few times. From here we're going to come into our camel pose. So we have a few options here because it's quite a strong pose. If you have a bolster, you might like to just have it sitting just on the back under the knees. You could use a cushion if you haven't got a bolster. So we lengthen up through the chest. Take that left arm up, stretching it up, and then maybe bring that arm down to rest on the bolster, keeping that chest lifted up, taking that right arm up, bringing that right hand down to the bolster. So really drawing the chest up, maybe bringing the head up. But if that's too strong, maybe just use one arm. Just have one arm straighten up. So drawing the chest up, maybe take your gaze up to the ceiling. And then gently releasing the shoulders. And just giving the shoulders a nice little roll here. Well done, everyone. From here we're going to come into an easy squat. So we're going to sit on our bolster. So just having the feet slightly apart, feet pointing out on a slight angle. We bring the palms together, using the elbows to push the knees, drawing the chest up. Lovely, feeling that stretch. Using that Ujjayi breath. So feeling that stretch as we're working on opening up the hip and the groin here. Nice work. Staying here for 3 more breaths. And then slowly releasing, just giving those legs a bit of a stretch. And from here we're going to just move that bolster out of the way. We're going to come up to standing. We'll come into our ragdoll pose. So we inhale the arms up, stretching up, bringing the palms together, and then folding forward. Keeping the knees slightly soft, coming down, crossing the elbows, and just putting a little bend in the knees, and then flopping the head backwards and forwards, side by side. Just helping to stretch out the spine, drawing the buttocks up. And then releasing the hands. And then coming down into our tabletop. From here we're going to come into our dragon lunge. So we're going to take 2 blocks. If you don't have blocks, it doesn't matter. Just stepping that right foot forward. And then we slide that left leg back. If you haven't got blocks, it doesn't matter, just using the mat. Drawing the chest up. So we just slide that left leg back, just finding your edge so we don't take it too far back if it's too strong. Drawing the chest up. And then you can bring the arms down if you have that space. Feel that stretch in the hamstrings. Breathing into that stretch. And then from here, we slowly release that right leg. Just bring the hands down to the mat, bringing that right knee back. And then stepping that left foot forward, sliding that right leg back, drawing the chest up, placing the hands on the blocks or just on the mat, whatever's comfortable. Drawing that chest up, breathing into that hamstring on the right hand side, feeling that stretch. Nice work. Taking 3 more breaths here. Softening and releasing into that stretch. And then slowly releasing that left leg back, stretching out that leg, bringing that left knee back. From here we're going to take our bolster, bring it down the center of the mat and coming into our child's pose. So big toes together, knees apart. You can rest over an extra blanket if you like. So we bring the bolster in between the knees. We just rest over that bolster. You can bring your hands to wrap around the top of the bolster. Just take your gaze to one side. And just feeling the body softening into that stretch. This is a really nourishing and nurturing pose. You feel safe and protected. Taking 2 more breaths here. And then slowly releasing up. Coming back to lie down on our mat, coming into our rebound pose. Just taking a moment here, checking in with your body. And from here we're going to take our strap, bring the strap around the ball of that left foot, extending that right leg down, drawing that leg in towards you, feeling that stretch. And then holding the strap in the left hand, bring that right hand out to the side, just easing that leg out towards the left. Coming back to center and slowly releasing, bringing that left leg down, bring that right leg up, placing the strap around the ball of that right foot, easing that leg in towards you, softening into that leg with your breath. And then holding the strap in the right hand, bring that left hand out to the side, easing that leg out towards the right, feeling that nice stretch. Slowly coming back to center, placing both feet under the strap, stretching up, engaging that core, drawing the legs back towards you. And release. Bringing both knees into the chest. Little gentle rock from side to side. And then taking hold of the balls of the feet, pressing the knees into the elbows, coming up into our happy baby. Maybe rocking from side to side. Slowly bring the knees back. And then just gently sitting up for a moment, we're going to take our bolster, bring it, just have it lined up behind the lower back, about halfway down the mat, and then rolling the elbows over. Just resting the bolster on that lower back. Bring the knees into the chest, and then taking the legs up. Bring the arms out to the side, tucking the chin into the chest, coming into our nice inversion here. into that stretch. And then gently bring the knees back to the chest, releasing the legs down, lifting up and just rolling that bolster down to rest under your knees and making your way to your Shavasana. So just doing any last minute adjustments. And softening into your breath. Completely letting go, sinking a little deeper into the mat. And slowly bringing your awareness back, giving the fingers and toes a little wriggle. And then finding your way to a comfortable seated position. Bringing the hands to the heart center. And thank you for joining me today. Namaste.
Thank you, Annie.
Thank you. Sorry about the
Thank you, Annie.
issues at the start. Hey, Julie.
Thanks, Annie. Ready?
Thank you.
Thank you too, Sue.
See you soon.
Thanks, Annie. See you soon.
You want to
Bye.
stop it and then start
Bye,
again in
everybody.
half an hour?
Bye. Bye.
Otherwise it's boring.